Hi everybody, welcome to Fierce and Pretty. Honey here. Today I'm doing a VR for Becca's hashtag Your Tarot Growth. I've watched Becca's original video, then Cheeky Jones, and then Simon from Hermit's Cave. So I've seen those and I found them really interesting, so I thought I would join up. So my tarot journey has been short so far, but even more intense. So I actually started a little less than a year ago. I was exhausted at work. I was having a full vacation and I needed something to distract me. So I knew I needed something to focus on for that week of vacation, so I wouldn't be thinking about work stuff. Then I was shopping with my daughter in a bookstore and I saw this really cheap pack of tarot cards, and something in me just made me buy that. And after that it was a straight deep dive to the deep end, and there hasn't been a day without tarot ever since. The first deck, I didn't end up using it long because it was really crappy. It's actually now glued into this binder. It has Finnish titles and the quality of the cards were shitty, and the book that came with that deck is ridiculous because there's no, all the cards, they come in whatever order. They are not in like in numerical order or any rational order. So then playing with that deck for that week, I found out that I was really interested. I started to Google about stuff, and I went to the only tarot shop that I could find here in Finland, and it was in Helsinki, the Unio Mystica shop. And I ended up buying my first real tarot, I think my first proper tarot deck. It lives in this wooden flea market box, and it is the Centennial Edition, or Pamela Coleman Smith's Rider-Waite Smith. So I started with this deck and started to watch and find the YouTubers about tarot, started reading books, and quite soon I also started purchasing more decks, because I have done a few hits and misses with the decks, because I wanted to find maybe not a perfect deck, but find the deck that would really speak to me, then I would like to work with most, and find my tarot style. I do have now, I don't know, around 50 decks or something, and my taste has now become a bit clearer, because I'm still a total newbie in all this, so I needed to find out what I like and what I don't like. And that's why trying these different decks on and finding the things that I like about them. I started to study hard with the Rider-Waite Smith, and for me, this tarot journey so far, in the beginning it was mostly reading, mostly studying, watching a lot of YouTube, learning from people. So it's been a lot of studies. I started to first do one cards and see, well, when you start as a newbie, first you have to kind of understand the card meanings. I've never been a person who would purely read intuitively. I need to have a basic understanding and study. That's just the type of person that I am. I need to have the structure in my head and understand that. before going over that. So first I just thought that I would read for myself and study these cards. Then I started to read with my closest family and few friends. Well, those readings, they were just fun practicing. And I thought that maybe I would never be able to read with other people. But actually that day came sooner than I even expected. I don't know, just one day out of the blue, I just felt that I would really want to do a reading for a person that I don't know. And I reached out to the lovely James Feeney from Lemniscate's Logic, if you have seen his channel, and asked him that could I do a reading for him and if he would be kind enough to give me feedback. And that experience led me to do this free readings project that I'm still doing actually. And I give free readings for feedback, and that has been so far the biggest transformation for me in my journey, to have the courage to do that, but also how my readings changed, how I felt the intuition kick in, and how I felt the cards started to speak to me differently when I was reading to people that I didn't know, and about questions that weren't so easy, and when you didn't have all the backgrounds of things. And I found out that I could still get clear messages, so that was super exciting, and I'm really loving to continue that project. As I said, I am a newbie and I'm still going on. But the way that my tarot growth has been, so I started with Rider-Waite-Smith, and I thought I was going to stay that way. I was content. But then I ended up getting a Thoth deck. I wasn't supposed to get it for myself, but it ended up for me from this local flea market type of site. And it was in a super good condition, and I had familiarized a bit with Aleister Crowley, enough to be a bit scared, but not enough to realize the amazingness that the Thoth deck is. And so when I was holding this particular Thoth deck, my greenie, for the first time, something changed inside me. It totally blew my mind. I love this deck because it doesn't have the white borders behind. And even though it's an old deck, as old as me, from the 80s somewhere, I'm born in 82, so we're quite the similar age, me and this one. It just, something in my hands felt so magical, and I got obsessed with Thoth. I started to get books. I have now, I don't know, so many books about Thoth. I'm still studying, and finally I'm getting so comfortable with the Thoth system that I can already read with it also for other people. So it has been a rewarding journey with the Thoth, but for me, I never expected this deck to affect in me so much as it has. And I'm so eagerly waiting for my Tabula Mundi decks that have been on their way for a long time. But for me, the Thoth was a big transformation. And also a thing with the Thoth deck has led me to more rabbit holes than I ever thought that could exist anywhere. When learning with the Thoth deck, I have been ending up learning about Kabbalah, astrology, and so many just endless rabbit holes and endless books and endless websites, and but I think that I could amuse myself with these Thoth rabbit holes for quite a long time. And because I am a geeky tarot study person, I want to my journey to get to know the different systems and find my way. I don't expect to be perfect in everything, or you can never be perfect in anything, but I just want to learn at least Rider-Waite-Smith and then the Thoth system. And now I've started with Marseille. But for me, the art style in traditional Marseille is still kind of, I'm not kind of feeling it yet. But when I found the Le Tarot Noir, this was my gateway to Marseille. And this deck made me also want to learn Marseille. And that's my newest project and ongoing. But I don't feel even remotely passionate towards Marseille yet, at least, than I do with the Thoth. So Thoth kind of stole my heart. And that's my greatest passion now. But when it comes to my taste, what I've started to understand about myself, I do like good quality indie decks. I do have modern decks. I do have quite many historical, the old decks, like Sola Busca or those I've made separate videos, or those I want to study the history, and that's been really exciting. But I don't feel the urge to read with the Visconti Sforza or those ancient decks, but I like to know, I like to learn about them. But the decks that are drawing me in mostly are the classical vintage decks. Something in these just, I don't know, feels special. It was the same way with the 80s Thoth and with this Aquarian Tarot. It's also an 80s deck. The decks from the 80s kind of keep on calling the 80s girl. I don't know why. And the Blushing Fool blue box. There's just something about the cards. But I do also with the art style. I tend to choose to work more with the classic decks than the more modern decks. So at least for now, that's where my taste is. And I don't keep these on the shelf, I actually do use them. Then one amazing thing on my tarot journey has been the YouTube and the people there. I never expected to actually get friends from YouTube. I thought that would be impossible. But actually, I have been lucky enough to found few people who I can call as a friend now, and hopefully I'll end up getting a lot more of great friends through tarot and through YouTube, because I am quite in solitude here in Finland with my tarot hobby. I don't have actual physical people that would share my passion in my life. So for me, the whole tarot community has been priceless. I've learned so much from these people, and I'm so grateful. And I think that starting a tarot journey is a lot easier these days when you do have the internet and everything. So I can find the things fast, and because I am such a study geek, I do have great resources. I've been able, if I want a book, I can buy it to my Kindle like that and like start reading it. It makes sometimes life a bit overwhelming, but on the other hand, it is great. There is so much to draw from. And then to my to my latest deck. It's the latest that have arrived. I did order it quite a long time ago, but it's the Alchemical Tarot, the renewed 5th edition by Robert and Place. And I consider, even though this is not a vintage deck per se, I do have the first edition here from 1995 also. Maybe it'll be vintage soon, but for me 1995 is still kind of fresh. I remember those times. But this has proven out to be a system that draws me in quite a lot. I love Robert and Place's books. They have been the best books about tarot history and so much about the esoteric, occultist, alchemical stuff from the centuries before us. But I find this, because this is kind of its own system. It's not a straight Rider-Waite-Smith. The meanings are a bit different, and the whole alchemy part of it makes this, I don't know, I consider it at least, that I do have now the Rider-Waite-Smith, then I do have the Thoth. I'm dabbling with the Marseille, starting to learn that. But I kind of see the Alchemical Tarot as its own system that I'm interested to study and keep on getting Robert and Place's books and reading those. I consider that Rider-Waite-Smith system is kind of the home base where I feel most comfortable with, and I can easily work with the clone decks, or the how you should call them. And then with Thoth, I feel a bit not as comfortable as with Rider-Waite-Smith, but I feel that the Thoth system has so much embedded in it, and the astrology is a topic that I'm super interested about, but I don't know so much yet, and I'm gonna be focusing more on the astrology studies in the future. Maybe I'm weird in the head some way, I don't know, but I can't read one book from cover to cover. I tend to have like 3 books lying around, and like with the tarot, I jump. One day I want to study Marseille, the second day I want to study Thoth, then back to Rider-Waite-Smith. That feels natural and comfortable for me, so I don't know if it's the most efficient way to do things, but that's the way I'm doing it. By the way, this is Smeagol. Do you want to say hi? Nope. She's been named after Smeagol. She looks like him, doesn't she? Oh, and then how I read and the spreads. I really like working with the 9-card spread that I have actually learned from Tom Benjamin. I really like that spread. But then when I do readings, if the question, I always see what the question is, and then I try to check out, for example, this book. If I find a nice spread that I could use, and I have found a few really good ones in this book that I like to use, because I'm trying to build myself kind of a, I don't know, nice reservoir that I can remember these nice spreads that I feel that are working and that I like to use, because I know it's easy to grow a 3-card reading, for example, and start growing that, or just do 6, 9 cards, whatever. But I think I like to also learn and try already made out spreads, and sometimes I end up creating my own. The way I see myself with tarot I'm studying really hard, but I'm not taking things too seriously. It's just giving me so much pleasure, and it's a passion project for me. It makes the mundane life so much more fun, so much more magical. And I feel grateful that I found tarot and fell in love. My feeling is that it's going to be a companion, probably, for the rest of my life. So I guess there was my tarot growth story. Thank you, Becca, for making this hashtag. It's, I think, super interesting to hear other people's story. I know mine is still quite short. The journey in years, but it has been a wild and enjoyable ride. So thanks for watching, guys, and hope to see you back here again sometime. Bye.